This is completely out of the blue, and not the video I was planning to make at all, because despite how it looks, I do have a lot of videos planned. I wanted to make a video about Space Channel 5, maybe another Jet Set Radio video, also a video about Manhunt, if I ever beat the second game, that is. I have a lot of normal videos planned, but instead something awoke in me, so I am recording this rant. This is practically unscripted, so beware. The reason why I don't make a lot of videos aside from occasional shit posts and voice lines videos because I'm an extremely normal individual is because I'm mostly not home and I need to focus on my studies and whatnot, and you really can't make videos in an environment like this. Or you can if you're really brave, and I'm certainly not that. Anyways, yeah, I was blessed with some free time, so I decided to use it and kinda do this. What I want to talk about here is various Jet Set Radio cancelled projects. But instead of shallowly just reading publicly available fandom wiki pages about who made what project and why, I want to explore previously unexplored territories and actually rating them. I joined the fandom maybe in like 2019, 2020. And during my stay in this fandom, I noticed a few really interesting similarities between most of the cancelled projects. And I really want to mention it, because I never seen anyone mention it before. And now, with these leaks of a new Jet Set Radio game maybe being in development, I think this will be a good time to talk about it. I know that this leak is old news at this point, but to be completely fucking honest, I ignored it on purpose, because I legitimately hate it and I don't want a new Jet Set Radio game. Just like, port Jet Set Radio Future to PC. Maybe like include a freebie in the form of Typing Jet, like I'll be happy then. I know that literally no one can play Typing Jet, but it'll just be funny, so they should do it. Anyways, it's not about the leak, it doesn't deserve a video. Let's come back to the cancelled projects, and I can finally reveal what is that similarity that I noticed between pretty much all of these projects. Now, what is the similarity that I keep pointing out, that I keep talking about? The thing is, most of these projects are bad. They suck. They don't bring up anything new. They don't have anything going on. And that's pretty much it. Now, this sounds extremely mean, and I intended to be like this purely for comedic effect. I'm not that angry at these things. But I can't just not notice how every time I just like look up some shit regarding Jet Set Radio to find cool images and whatnot, and I see people sometimes bring up like, "Oh, this series is so unlucky, we had so many cancelled things, but Sega doesn't care, we don't have a new game, woo-hoo-hoo." And this sort of phenomenon made me kinda question this entire thing. Like, yeah, obviously, Sega doesn't give a shit about Jet Set Radio much, they've been ignoring it for a while now, besides this leak. But like, does Sega not care to this extent? Like, you have people that clearly want a new game, then you just cancel it because evil, I guess? Like, it doesn't work this way. Most of the times, these are supposedly cancelled because Sega isn't interested, which is like, fine, they're a company, they need to make business decisions that will make the most money. It's not about creativity. But like, how many times do you need to be like not fucking interested to cancel all of these, but then just later on make your own game, supposedly? So here in this video I'll try to look at these projects more or less objectively, and I'll decide if they really were unfairly cancelled or they're just like garbage. So, the first famous cancelled project in here is Jet Set Radio for Wii. I don't know if I can even call it a project per se, considering that it was cancelled even before the actual pitch was made. The one thing we have as a proof of this project existing is some concept art. And I gotta say, this artwork, it looks really nice. I'm not gonna be this like evil internet critic that will just like rag on literally everything for the smallest reasons. I can confidently say that this art is good, it has potential. In my personal opinion, these roller skate design are kinda too detailed, and Beat, he kinda has too much going on, but they still look good. I also appreciate the designs for new gangs, which is a rarity here somehow, even though gangs is a big part of Jet Set Radio. Although I'm not a fan of Skinny Poison Jam. These dudes can't be skinny, they're powerhouses. You don't remove the muscle. I also like the Hawks and the Ninjas. They look cool, I like their concept. Unfortunately, their name kinda suck, they don't really have a rhythm to it. It's not really fun to say, if you get me. But yeah, there isn't much I can say about it. This thing is pretty cool, but that's all I can say. There isn't much depth to it, because it was cancelled before it could even show off anything more. This project seemingly isn't popular anymore as it was before. Right now I barely can find a mention of it. Most of the posts about Jet Set Radio Wii that I saw were really old, and I had to like go out of my way to find any of these, so I can assume that the fandom doesn't like it anymore. My final verdict is like, it's neat, but again I can't say anything more because there isn't anything else. It was cancelled, it was double cancelled, the page was cancelled and the whatever the fuck was cancelled. Now it's time to bring out the big guns. It's time to talk about Jet Set Radio Evolution. Jet Set Radio Evolution is by far the most popular cancelled project in the fandom. So popular in fact that it still gets a lot of attention. People still talk about it and how they're sad about it being cancelled and how it's so unfair. There is fan art of characters shown in that pitch, and even fan-made characters based on the pitch itself, which is quite impressive. Like, for God's sakes, we had a Savagana takeover and it was named after Jet Set Radio Evolution. Like, this thing means a lot in this fandom. People love it. I can confidently say that this is the golden child of Jet Set Radio fandom. So, it's time for me to start talking about why I think this pitch is fucking garbage. Okay, that was extremely rude, but honestly, people make it out to be as this masterpiece of cancelled pitches, and then I look at it, and it's just like, not. Essentially, Jet Set Radio Evolution is also a pitch, just like Jet Set Radio Wii, but it was finished to a degree. But somehow it has less of what Jet Set Radio Wii provided, even though Wii was cancelled even before any proof of concept was made, and this one had proof of concept, so this is really bizarre. It's because it doesn't introduce anything new to the series. It doesn't bring up any new ideas. There are no interesting concepts. It's just nothing. Like, okay, I know that it is too much to expect from a thing, just like an idea. But come on, man. What do I mean? Further illustrate my point on what I mean, let's read the story synopsis that was kindly provided by the creator years later. I don't know if it was available before or not, but it does still illustrate my point pretty well. So, if you have like a half of a fucking brain cell, you can already see what's the problem with the fucking story. And if you can't recognize what's the problem, well, this story idea is literally just Jet Set Radio Future with one minor plot point being changed. And you know, I'm aware that you can't really create something extremely original with a pre-existing IP and all that. It will have similarities to the previous titles. and yada yada. But they didn't even fucking try. This isn't even funny, like what the hell? Okay, so what do I mean? First of all, Roboy is a Rokaku robot, you fucking idiot. Like, he always was, because he's a noise tank. And what noise tanks are? Huh? You get the point. And the thing about, oh, Roboy being found and whatever the fuck and being fixed up, it's also from Jet Set Radio Future. Like, Warren did it. He and Gum found whatever the fuck. They fixed him up and like, yeah, Roboy. One really funny bit that not a lot of people know about, and I think everyone should know because it's just silly, is that on the Japanese website for Jet Set Radio Future, the character description for Roboy implies that the reason why he's such a piece of shit is because he copied some personality from Korn. Like, it's a rumor, but it's a really funny rumor if you ask me. Anyways, back to the topic. The only thing that this pitch shows is how the creator just adores Jet Set Radio Future, nothing else, which is like, sure, it's valid to like Jet Set Radio Future, like whatever, go off, I guess. But it won't fly if you want to make a new Jet Set Radio game and you propose this to the higher-ups. And this pure Jet Set Radio Future simping extends to the character designs as well. Because these are not new character designs, these are just designs from Jet Set Radio Future with like needless shit added on. Like, this is not new character design. This is Sonic Boom of redesigns, and I'm being completely fucking serious. This is one thing this pitch does way worse than the JSR Wii pitch. Because while Wii designs were kind of detailed, I'd say it's going a bit overboard. They're still nice to look at. I can still understand what am I looking at, what the intent was. They stand out in comparison to Jet Set Radio designs and Jet Set Radio Future designs. Despite still being kinda similar looking, it's clearly different. Which is where Jet Set Radio Evolution fails miserably. Jet Set Radio Evolution designs is just literally, hey, let's take Jet Set Radio Future designs and just like slap some needless shit on it and like change a few colors, and that's pretty much it. It doesn't have anything else going on, it's just like, yeah, we love Jet Set Radio Future, hell yeah. And like that's it, like, god damn it, have something more. Even in the actual video that was provided, this like proof of concept, this showing off the art style. I personally don't like the art style too, it's kinda too detailed, but oh well, this is the least of a problem here. Even that pitch, that video, it just shows how much they love Jet Set Radio Future, but not even in a meaningful way, it's just like extremely fucking shallow. They really went like, ah yeah, Jet Set Radio Future, it's when it's green, right?
The green vegetation is surfacing from the bottom of the lake.
Let's make everything green. Every building, everything. We're just in a green city. Green, green, green. Suddenly everything can do photosynthesis. It's so green. And Jesus Christ, Jet Set Radio Future ain't that green. It's just Shibuya. It's just like Dogenzaka Hill. It's just all of these locations related to Shibuya. Like, no matter what Jet Set Radio fans wanna say about how shit Jet Set Radio Future visuals are, because this is somehow a take which just boggles my mind, the color design in Jet Set Radio Future is really competent. It's really good. Anyways, that doesn't fucking matter anyways. Why Jet Set Radio Evolution goes on in the fucking green town? Like, even Jet Set Radio Future Shibuya locations, they weren't that green. They were just like greenish, which kinda shows off how alive these places are compared to everything else. This color choice had a purpose. And here, what fucking purpose? It's just like, ah yeah, I love Jet Set Radio, like, god damn it. You know, I'm also kinda disappointed that there isn't much other concept art besides a few models. Like, one of my favorite parts about JSR Wii pitch is that it also had a few other characters, like it had DJK, it had gangs, it had all of that. Also, it didn't ignore tab, which is like, bless you, bless all of the tab not ignorers. My boy gets so ignored. Anyways, I'm not asking for them to even like model a new thing just to show off, just like a few images. That's enough. The fact that this is the most popular project in Jet Set Radio fandom makes me extremely sad. Like, goddammit guys, your standards, they are so fucking low. Like, you can't go any lower. This is just future but with new coat of paint, and that paint isn't even like make it feel distinct. This is literally original character do not steal. There's an argument to be made that you can't really make a game in the same series to be fully unique, which is a valid argument. You can't really do that. No matter what, a game in the same series will have similarities, will share common things, which is normal. And somehow people excuse with this reason Jet Set Radio Evolution because, like, well, of course it's similar, it's in the same series, like, why are you complaining? But let me ask you this. I will bring up 3 games from another extremely popular Sega franchise. Let us look at Sonic 1, Sonic 2, and Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Can you differentiate between all of these games? Yes. Can you call all of these games identical? No. Are these games a part of the same franchise? Yes. See my point? It is possible to make a game with the same style, with the same genre in fact, and feel it fully unique. And how do you do it? You add new ideas. Like in the case of 2 and 3, it was mostly adding a new character, adding a new mechanic, and most importantly, especially for 3, is adding a unique story. Like, come on guys, if you think that Sonic would still live, they make Sonic 3 and it looks exactly like Sonic 2, just like no fucking differences. Maybe just like it has slightly different colors and that's pretty much it. Like, come on man. You can do it once, but not twice. Anyways, this section went for way too fucking long. And my main point is that Jet Set Radio Evolution isn't this saint that was unfairly cancelled by Sega. Jet Set Radio Evolution is basically your like newbie first project, that's how it feels. When a person like full of passion wants to make a thing, to show off how much it loves a certain thing. Which is admirable, I'll give you that, but it's not really good. The one thing that Evolution had going for it is one idea regarding gameplay, which is it also was mentioned way too fucking late. If it was mentioned like in the pitch itself, maybe it would have been more interesting. But no, it wasn't. Anyways, that idea is about combat and how they want to make it less lame by including rhythm game mechanics. And I'm sorry, but this is a platforming game? Like, the fact that Future added combat for no fucking reason is already kinda concerning to me. Combat in that game is kind of funny, I'll give you that, it's entertaining, but it's by no means good. And it's interesting that this was the one thing they wanted to change. Not to add some cool things regarding spraying graffiti, not some new movement options. No, just the combat. Like, this is weird. Cause Jet Set Radio isn't really musical, despite the radio being in its title. It's about drawing, it's about spraying graffiti. Radio is just a way to convey the story and listen to cool music. And that's it. I don't really see a need to make something musical, but also, this is the one bit of originality, and I'll give you a plus point for that. This is good. Because it's something. It's something that doesn't say just, I love Jet Set Radio Future. Anyways, my real actual verdict, that isn't just like me angrily ranting about this thing that never became real, Jet Set Radio Evolution is wasted potential, true and true. It didn't try to experiment much aside that rhythm game, mechanic, combat stuff. It's just this one guy that wants to show off how much he loves Jet Set Radio Future, and there isn't anything more than that, which is kinda sad because it's all presented in such a pretty way. Like there's a lot of things going on in the background and it's all deep and whatever, and then it's just like shallow as fuck. It is the definition of wasted potential in my eyes, especially for a thing that was this hyped up by the fanbase. Honestly, I think the reason why it wasn't accepted is because of how little new it introduced. Like, again, the only new thing it had, let's ignore the visuals for a second. The only new thing it really had is the combat system. And again, as I said before, this is a really weird decision, but it is at least an original decision. But it doesn't change the fact that this pitch really doesn't have anything going on. Now to step away from a game pitch for once, and it's not like we have a lot of these, again it's just like 2 of them. Another interesting pitch that I don't see a lot of people talking about is a cancelled animated show pitch, which sounds extremely promising. This wasn't a really big thing, I only found it out because the person responsible for it made a Twitter thread, and that Twitter thread had a few things. It had a cool looking animatic, also character designs, and the star of the show, an actual script for a single episode. The little attention I've seen this project gather, most of the people were upset that it wasn't accepted, which is, obvious. Most of the fans dream about an animated series about Jet Set Radio. Including me, because I'd love to see all of these little fellas go on adventures and get in trouble and all that. The first thing we see in this thread is a pretty cool looking animatic, I'll give you that. It's all action, it's really fun, it's all that, it's cool. And then we also see a few character designs made for this. This entire thing has this big fan-made feel about this. If it's good or bad, that's for you to decide. One thing that I noticed this pitch really liking to do is combining Jet Set Radio and Jet Set Radio Future, which is what a lot of fan-made projects do, which is one of the reasons why it feels fan-made-y. Especially the animatic, it feels like extremely fan-made. Again, it's not a bad thing. There's a similar animatic on YouTube called But the City, I think. It has a similar vibe, although it's more animated as far as I remember. Especially the animatic feels fan-made because it reuses some voice lines from Jet Set Radio Future, which isn't a bad thing. It's not like this is a completely finished piece of animation. Of course there will be some placeholders and whatnot. But little did I know that this seemingly innocent thing of reusing voice lines for a video will also show up in the script itself. Now, this pitch unfortunately has a lot of problems, and it's not even me just being fan-made thing bad because it's not up to my standards. It's just like, legitimately, there are problems with the script. I'm not gonna bore you with the details and telling like what the fuck happened, because honestly, this is just like a really lame retelling of Jet Set Radio with a lot of needless shit added on. One of the big problems with this script that I find to be really bad is that it can't decide what it wants to be exactly. Does it want to be an adaptation of Jet Set Radio? Or does it want to be a completely original thing? Instead of figuring out what it wants to be, it just did both. And I don't think you can really do that. Instead, what you have is, there's Jet Set Radio plot, but oop, there's just some Jet Set Radio Future stuff, and oop, take this, like, completely fucking out of the blue original thing, because, I don't fucking know. I guess they're trying to make a spin on original plot of Jet Set Radio, which is fine, but it really feels like they took the script from the actual game and then just like decided, oh hey, let's add this, which isn't how this process usually works. And about taking the script from the game without any changes, they do that. They do that so often, it's not even funny. Like, okay, sure, you can put a bit of references in there to the original, that's fine. But you can't imagine how many times I just like shook my head and went, fucking hell, they took this from the game again. And you know, I'm an advocate for accurate adaptations. For me personally, if you do an adaptation, you do it justice. You do it accurate. Some deviations are fine, obviously you need to change some stuff when you move a game plot in a different medium, that's fine. For example, I think Sonic X is a really good game adaptation, despite it really not being that accurate, but it conveys the plot well, despite all the changes. It has the vibes, you know? And in the same camp of being an adaptation that changes up some stuff. Netflix Castlevania. It takes from the games, supposedly, but the vibes are so fucking off that I can't even call it a Castlevania thing. Like, you clearly see that there's a thing that happened in the game, kind of, but then everything else is just, it really feels like something else. So yeah, you can do it in two ways. You can change it up but still feel accurate, or you can change it up or be just like completely fucking different. And which is better or worse depends on the person. I personally like more accuracy, just in vibes alone, even if it's not really accurate. This pitch tries to go in the Sonic X direction, so to say, where it's different, but it's still like Jet Set Radio. And both of them even do the direct script lifting, funnily enough. Yeah, if you didn't know, Sonic X also like directly lifted scripts from the game, but what it lifted was unused lines from adventure games, so no one really noticed it, which is a bit funny, but also it's a nice touch. So yeah, it can be a nice touch if you reference a game in a meaningful way, but this pitch doesn't do that. It just directly lifts most of the DJK dialogue, most of the cops dialogue, and in result it makes the script feel like extremely cheap. Even the most typical fanfiction doesn't do it, and by typical I mean the ones that try to be canon compliant. But okay, now that the biggest problems that I have with the scripts like out of the way, I can talk about more issues that it had. Most notably is there way too much fucking stuff happening for one episode. Okay, so what do we have in this single episode? What plot points do we have? What are we working with? So what do we have? We have character introductions, which is fine, obvious. Then we have love chakras attacking, the GGs. Then we have Poison Jam attacking. Then we have Garam recruitment. Then we have Bots kidnapping. And then Poison Jam kidnapping. Like, we have these 6 different plot points that don't go anywhere. They just set up in a single episode. Like, nothing gets resolved. Literally nothing. But still, let's have these 6 plot points and get none of them resolved. I am aware that this is just a pitch. This is just like one thing they did. This is a proof of concept. A little idea, if you will. But just for a little idea, don't you think there's just like too much stuff going on? Like, legitimately. I'm not trying to act like some old person that can't handle doing a few things at the same time. But it's too much stuff. Like, at max, you should have focused on something way smaller. Which is really weird that they did this, considering that Jet Set Radio itself already is laid out in a sort of episodic fashion. You have the tutorial, which is essentially a character introduction. You're introduced to Beat, the newbie, this little loser that gum found, and it's like, yeah, you little piss boy, you should know how to do stuff, you wanna survive, bitch. And yeah, we have beat, we have gum, we have tab, we have this cool team. And after that you have 3 levels, which you can do in any order. And this is what I mean about it being kind of episodic. For example, if you choose to go after Poison Jam, you have 3 levels. You have Monsters of Kogane, where you basically are fully introduced to Poison Jam and where they are and how they do. You have number 540, which is essentially just like more Poison Jam, more fighting, more whatever the fuck. And then it ends off with Kogane Circus, which is the real encounter against Poison Jam. And yeah, you kick their asses, you get their turf, and they run away like little babies. See what I mean about these levels feeling episodic? You feel sort of a plot progression when you do these. You're introduced to the threat, you deal with the threat, and then you kill it. It's all nice, it's all consistent, it's really good. And most of the levels in Jet Set Radio follow the same pattern, except Love Trap. They just kinda don't like the love shockers. But yeah, basically, developers did everything already. Like, you don't need to do anything else, you just take this scheme and adapt it into an animated show. But no, that's not what the creator did. So in the end it feels really incoherent. But now that's the main problem with the script out of the way. I can complain about the smaller stuff. First of all, it combines Jet Set Radio Future and JSR, which is really confusing for me, for my little monkey brain, because I don't know if I should think of this world as this kind of realistic thing grounded in reality, like Jet Set Radio is, or are we in a silly goofy land that is Jet Set Radio Future? We have characters like Riff just suddenly appearing, even though it's not really Riff, it's some other bitch named Riff, which is why you named her Riff if she's not Riff. And now I can bring up, honestly, the most cringe-worthy thing about this entire fucking script. Personally, the most cringe-worthy. Maybe someone won't mind, but I really fucking mind. Anyways, it's the way that they did DJK so fucking dirty. They can't write dialogue for him at all. Not just because they took most of the dialogue for him from the games, which is, bad. But look at this. What is this? He would not fucking say that. And this is another point that is really annoying to me, is that he uses American slang. I assume it's American, I don't really know the origin. Anyways, I really doubt that in Japan they use the same word to refer to cops, because let's remember, this is Tokyo, Japan. This isn't America. All of the stuff that Kay says to these kids, teenagers, whatever the hell, these kids live in Tokyo. This is oriented on people who live in Tokyo, so it should have used like, I don't know, Japanese terminology. Which is what Kay does in the game. He just like randomly puts in Japanese words in his speech. That's his quirk in Jet Set Radio only. I can understand cutting this out, because not a lot of people know Japanese words to understand what the hell is he talking about. No one knows what this uki uki waku waku feeling means, which is really fucking funny that they left in uki uki waku waku. When I asked my friend what it is, he said that you can't really translate it. It is like an expression that isn't translatable. So they fucking removed keisatsu, which means like police officer or some shit like that. Which is perfectly understandable, but they left in this completely untranslatable expression, which is like, good job guys, good job. Also, I really wanna know, why the fuck is Poison Jam leader named Meg? Not a nickname like other Jet Set Radio characters have, just Meg. maybe it was supposed to mean like Megalodon, considering that Poison Jam are kinda monster themed, fish themed, all that jazz. But no, it's just Meg. I can make up 2 names that are much better than Meg. First of all, we could have leaned into a poison territory, give her a poison name. Venom. It's cool, right? Name her fucking Cyanide, I don't know. Or we could have went into the territory about the jam. You could have given her a food-themed name, which isn't uncommon with Jet Set Radio characters. You could have named her Jam. Like, that's it, Jam is better. And the biggest problem, this pitch shares the same problem as Jet Set Radio Evolution. Meaning it was made by passionate people who just really like Jet Set Radio, but that's really it. They don't really introduce anything new to the table. Which is really weird for an animated series pitch especially. Because people will watch that. And not just gamers, not just Jet Set Radio fans, but just common people. You gotta make it accessible. You gotta introduce it in a way that makes people understand why should they watch it. Like, what's the point? You gotta make it more consumer friendly. Because as it is, it's just a thing that purely markets to the fans and no one else. On one hand, it's really nice, because it should be made for a specific audience. But also this is an animated thing, it should be appealing for more people than just the fans. Again, it's the same thing like with Jet Set Radio Evolution. Here people also made this thing because they love Jet Set Radio, but not much else. Like, the reason why Jet Set Radio Future was really good is because they took the same concept as Jet Set Radio and played around with it. They introduced a new stuff, they put it in a new environment, they put it in a different timeline, they put it in the future, they made it feel distinct, which is why it works. I'm absolutely sure that the developers also liked their creation, but sometimes you just gotta, massacre it to make something good. Which what these people didn't do. They just love Jet Set Radio way too much, they don't want to change it a lot. Which is why probably these projects are so lame. And again, I'm saying this as a person who loves accurate adaptation. Anyways, final verdict. I don't even see potential in this. I am so not surprised that it wasn't picked up. To be honest, we don't even really have confirmation that it was, clearly cancelled. The only thing we know about this project is this Twitter thread. And that's really it. I'm so not surprised that it wasn't picked up, because this is just like a bastardized version of Jet Set Radio. And it's not even bastardized in a funny way. I really don't want to be this fucking mean about this thing, because again, I see these people, they are really passionate about what they did. But also what they did isn't really good at all. But that begs the question, are there actually cancelled Jet Set Radio projects that I like? Well, actually yes. The one thing that I'm extremely upset about being cancelled, it's Jet Set Radio comic, made by Sonic the Comic crew. I really like this project because it's extremely straightforward. They had a set goal, which is to adapt Jet Set Radio in a comic form. This is just a straightforward adaptation that added a few new things about the characters, like having the story being told by Cube, contrasting it with the games where Combo is the storyteller, and also adding a few, just a little smidge of personality to Coin. That was really nice. If this comic ever became a reality, I can see it being big. And if it came out, I can see it being a really nice entryway for a person who wants to try Jet Set Radio but kind of intimidated by the game. Because this comic does pretty much everything solid. It introduces the character right, you know them, you kinda got their deal, the plot is explained. Well, that plot is just like the Grind Square chapter, but it's fine, it's explained, it's pretty good. For the life of me, I don't know why it was cancelled. I don't understand. It's really nice. It deserves the world. and I really don't get it why it was cancelled. It really doesn't deserve this. This is the one project that I will defend till I die, because again, it deserves the world. It's the one project that I really wanted to be real, but it's not real, and it makes me so sad. Anyways, why this project, in my opinion, is really good, while the previous two are kinda either or really bad, is again because, first of all, that comic had a goal. It's to adapt the Grind Square chapter, and also technically it was to promote the game, because during that time usually comics were made to promote the game, its merchandise. So it has to be understandable and accessible to people that have no idea what is a jet set radio and only heard it like maybe in an advertisement or something like that. It has this goal and it succeeds really well at it. While this comic is an easy idea, technically, it does it well, it does it solid. It doesn't need to be a masterpiece. This is enough. It's enough being mid. Mediocre is good sometimes.
Fuck you, Cash! Fuck you!
Anyways, what I'm trying to say is the reason why these projects were cancelled is because they don't have a hook. Their only hook, so to say, is just like more Jet Set Radio. It's not a new Jet Set Radio thing, a new idea, new concept. It's not what they're doing. They just want more Jet Set Radio. And it really doesn't work for a series like Jet Set Radio, because it's not mainstream and people really don't want to waste money on a thing that won't just be successful. Nowadays, if we really want a new Jet Set Radio thing, there needs to be a hook, something new that will attract not just old fans, but new players as well. And these projects don't do that at all. They just expect the old fans to be like the audience, which doesn't work considering in what situation this series in, meaning it's dead. As much as I despise this Jet Set Radio 3 leak, it actually does what I kinda want a Jet Set Radio thing to be like. It looks new, it looks kinda fresh, even though it looks like fucking garbage. It does something new, they're experimenting, they're cooking. I hate what they cook, but they are in fact cooking. So yeah, in my opinion, I think this like joke that Jet Set Radio is cursed and every game project it had gets cancelled is just not true. This series is cursed, definitely, but not in this way. These projects just aren't as good as you think they are, and that's really the whole reason. Also, Jet Set Radio Evolution logo fucking sucks, I hate it!